like a map. Like, where's the map of this place? I don't care what you're selling. Yeah, and maybe if it's not touching the table, it won't get shook.
Alright, we're live.
Scanning programs that they work at Jensen or so I went and the guys yeah, I've been like upgrading my apps to work on my screen. Well, there's like one that I had to work through some bugs. We've been doing like some video playing stuff, and Quest 3, as a matter of fact, is less stable than video game Quest 2. So, what's wrong with it? Yeah, there's just some OS bugs or something. I don't know. Anyway, so that was hopefully they do something about it. But I actually talked to human beings from Meta on a video call. Hopefully that will.
I was emailing the support too, and it kept giving me the runaround.
And they've got a fund, so what he had to be forceful with it. He's just like, I want to get on call 2 more bodies.
I think they have
2 more bodies. Never doesn't even have like a laser. So that's why one of my favorite things to run there.
I was having problems with the recording system too. Every time I did a recording,
I just need to be a little more careful than normal because every time normally I do move that camera around during the presentation, but that's also the mic. Yeah, now that's also the microphone. That's just need to be very just some delicate manipulation. It'll be fine.
nice recording system. I can just like double press and say start a recording.
Well, not using it for anything else. It's just a piece of shit. Oh, we got audio, don't we? Questions for.
Yeah, that might have something to do with it too. Because if it's, I'll put it next to not running at
There goes full power.
Man, I think it's so wild.
Yeah.
These lenses are really something else.
Well, and let's try it.
Yeah.
The interesting part is like your eye goes in it, and then you wouldn't think so, but you look past the lens and you don't see plastic, you see worlds.
Yeah.
Maybe not if you're That's what I see. Here's the power button, all right. But yeah, that ratchet is scary. And the sweet spot is so small, I can't keep both my eyes in it.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I can kind of see the screen.
Yeah, when you look past it, you see more plastic. It's interesting.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying about the sweet spot. Like it is really small.
Yeah, basically I put it on, I close one eye, I try to get it there, and then I hold your headset really still and then set it on. And then I usually lose it.
But it looks really good.
Yeah, one of the big advantages of those lenses is how bright they are. Is it on pass-through right now? Or is it not?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it was all built around getting the camera and the eyeballs close together so you don't have to do crazy distortions.
Yeah, I have really long eyelashes, so I had to basically.
You can feel it.
I had to touch the lenses with my eyelashes to make it work.
Touching it the whole time.
When I'm walking, I can actually put my
I'm hitting Control Shift S like in every program, and it does something with a microphone. That's the save all my shit for real Unreal editor.
Yeah.
Control Shift S. Here it's like, well, there's the Windows. If you get it into Google Slides, I don't know what I was doing to get a. I don't care. It wasn't good. It wasn't what I wanted. Windows Shift S is the screen cap. I don't know why Control Shift S is doing it.
That's screen cap on mine. I don't know what that is. Do you have a?
Oh, it's two different ones. I got Windows 10. You got Windows 11?
10.
Command Shift S is the Windows 11 one. Control Shift S is an ugly one. Oh, it's a web browser capture.
I was about to say, yeah, if it's Control Shift S, that's the. It's a web browser. Or no, oh, that's Edge.
Yeah.
Split off in a way
Chrome is for the work, Edge is for the stuff.
seal itself, but then it started
Now.
so
So sad.
built up like food and stuff. Maybe that's what they thought everybody.
I get my free Microsoft bucks, so I'm happy. I'm paying for Game Pass.
Yeah.
Game Pass is awesome.
Keep your cell phone.
It is. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Like if you're interested in playing a new game,
Yeah.
why would you not buy that?
And even, I haven't been keeping up with the indie stuff. They curate all the best indie stuff from like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
They do a really good job. And stuff I was aware of but didn't pay attention when it actually went on sale, like Night in the Woods. This from cat that flunked out of college and came back to what? Hang out with your deadbeat friends in town, and there's a ghost mystery and a murder. And,
Thanks, Scott.
yeah. But the best part is the animation of the here.
That's why they're software and hardware to let people walk around with a voice improvement.
You know what I meant. Hopefully it's in a loop.
Oh, okay. This is not what I was thinking.
That's way too few frames. They got these awesome spaghetti arms just for everything at every speed. And it's kind of just, something. I don't know what it is. I really liked it. It's a super boring and point-and-click adventure game. I really liked it. I think it's mostly the art.
Yeah.
They do good jobs.
That's really cool.
But yeah, that's an example. Like I would have never ever even tried that game. Sure. But I install each one and give it 2 minutes, uninstall it usually.
Yeah.
But there's so many of them. Like there's at least one. There's more like five a month. With playing.
Exactly. Looking at Night Woods more.
Oh, we're just talking about Game Pass. No, they do a good job of curating stuff I'd never give a second glance to.
Wait, that's even West.
No.
Okay.
I played on Xbox.
Yeah. I don't know how that would look.
That'd be awesome on the Quest.
Hey.
I've always wanted to do a Parappa game where you got super thin limbs and can't see them edge on.
Oh man. You know what? Okay. You know what game I might do for the Global Game Jam this year? I made, remember Garbage Trash Adventure where you drive around picking up garbage? There's multiplayer.
No.
Okay. I made an immersive garbage truck MMO one year.
Yeah?
So I want to do that again, but do it in 2D to make some of the mechanics a little simpler.
Yeah.
Because it was like a physics-enabled, like networked game. It was ridiculous. But like, think like Overhead, like GTA, like GTA 2 style.
Yeah.
But you're running a garbage truck. You run like a garbage collection company, and it's specifically like cutthroat garbage collection. So you have to
Chicago?
so you have to like pick up the garbage and like compete with the other garbage collection companies.
Yeah.
Like ruthlessly.
Yeah, you got freelance.
Yeah, so you like slitting tires and picking up garbage and trying not to get caught by the police.
Yeah, that sounds good.
haven't come up with a good name for it yet.
Oh, yeah. That's what the group is for.
Yeah. Yeah, but like actual mechanics and all that kind of stuff, I just like, I'll just kind of leave all that up in the air. That's just the concept. But networked, and so like, you and a few friends sit down and play it all at the same time.
How big's your map? Like a neighborhood?
Probably not huge. Probably relatively small.
Cul-de-sac.
Yeah, but I mean, think about how much fun that would be with your friends, just like all jumping in and like trying to screw each other up and like ramming each other off the road and trying to get the garbage. That was kind of where Garbage Trash Adventure was going, but just getting the multiplayer part of it over the line was really difficult. But I think if I skipped the physics, skipped 3D, kept it 2D, I think that would be have a much better shot at getting that done.
And would it work with shared screen, or is the map too big for shared screen?
I was kind of thinking the map would be too big for shared screen. That's a good point, though. You could, if you did a shared screen and did couch co-op, maybe that's the way to go.
Split screen, you had a big enough TV.
Yeah. If you could come up with mechanics that made sense for something that small, then you simplify the graphics.
Well, and you could drag around a 4K monitor or TV, because then you can split it into 1080p screens.
Yeah.
Skip the networking. But yeah, that's its own.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that concept in Godot. I started learning the Godot networking. It seems like you can definitely do something with it. But what I want to do before the game jam is figure out how to get like a dedicated server build done. That's going to take a little bit extra. Yeah, because that's what was so great about the Garbage Trash Adventure was that it used Photon Bolt, and so I set up a project out there, and you can still download it off of itch and play it multiplayer. Yeah, so like theoretically, somebody could be downloading and playing that game right now in multiplayer with other people, and if you join the game, it's online and it's with whoever else is playing it.
Yeah.
And I never tested to see how many people could actually play it, but it's probably more than 20.
Okay.
Probably.
That's cool. Yeah, I had no idea that you did that one. What year was that?
That was at least 4 years ago, I want to say. Oh, it was when we were at that NPR building.
Right, which one?
Like
St. Paul.
5 years ago?
That'd have been like 2017, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, it's really long.
I don't know what I did there. Remember the burning?
Yeah, that was a really funny year. Yeah, because I presented my idea of making this garbage collection game, and no one wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, guys, this is a great idea.
Well, it's BMW. It's the highest ticket.
Yeah, because the year before that was the year I did the package handler simulator.
Yeah, I remember that.
one. That was a fantastic game.
Genius.
That was such a good game.
That's probably back then.
The Totino's people snubbed me. They knew I deserved that. The year's supply of pizza rolls. They knew it.
Kids still talk about those pizza sticks. How bad they were.
It was awesome.
Yeah, because it was like some new flavor.
It was awesome because you basically installed
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't win it. Just because I'm glad I didn't put all that.
Well, I think you would have, well, that's true. But I think you got pizza rolls instead of pizza sticks. I think that was the clearing the freezer exercise. My favorite part was I happened to be outside Modest there where we had the after party and play test. And a drinking bus pulled up. People stagger off the bus and get in line because they think they're supposed to. and then they get to the front of the line, they're handing frozen pizza sticks. And you're like, what? And they just take them with them. And then they're like stacked outside the door, they're stacked inside the building.
Oh man, yeah, there's so many.
That was so great. I just watched the entire bus empty out just to see how it would go down. And the Totino's people just wanted to empty the truck and leave. Like, they were happy and took the gift.
Yeah, they didn't care who they were giving them to. God, that was so funny. That was a really fun year. That was just wild.
Yeah, for as rough as the logistics were at the U of M site, it was a good site.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, and I was going home every night, so I had to like repay the parking on the way in. I was like, this is so stupid. I paid like $40 just on parking.
There's always like Uni Jacks everywhere. Like every single thing they can put in. If they can fit right in there, every park has one.
Yeah, so I was super I was sitting there for a while.
Yeah, the college campus jams have always been interesting though, because even when I was in Madison, I did a couple on the U of M campus, and we had like undergrad students.
So electric.
Well, actually, we had post-grad students too. Like, we had these people coming in, like, they're working on their master's degree in like psychology or something.
Yeah.
They've never done anything with game development, and they're just like, what can I do? Really wild.
Yeah, that was
like totally different skill sets. You know, you're trying to like jam them into weird groups.
You can drive less than
Yeah, that was always the bummer with working with Glitch as a campus group, is because people wouldn't leave campus. They just wouldn't drive to Bloomington. They wouldn't take a bus to Bloomington. They wouldn't do it.
if you want to go to Bloomington, remote charging is kind of a pain until everyone switches to the But I drove to Virginia and back. Zero problem. I was like 15 to 20 minute charge time.
The spaces in the studio just way better. And so there's like 6 different empty offices that are all just totally like to walk past. And like it's weird.
He loves steak. Used to go to Steak and Shake. Like 4 or 5 times. Trying to represent for like contracts or
The hard thing is, non-Tesla finding like there's 2 in the metro. There's like 2 in the other side of there. For SDC business.
right, yeah.
I would say every model I was just like there one day. So you walk in, I was like, all these things. And then I swear this doesn't really nice up there and sounds like a big optimizer. So like we don't have a good so pricing from basically the generation and
How long does it take? Is that fast CC?
about 20 minutes.
Is it fast CC or level 2?
Oh, there.
Hey, that's Discord. Will we get a remote caller today?
I don't know. We'll see if he responds.
Emoticons out of our photos. Nice.
All right. Well, you guys are so quiet. It's clear you're eager to start.
Let's do it.
Some of you. Audio's going through the stream. Welcome, stream.
Mike is right there.
All right.
You'll have to turn it on. Buttons on the bottom.
What's wonderful
I knew that.
is how fast they get smarter. Because like they get quite fast.
There we go.
With like the surprise of like shade, like
Well, welcome everybody. We're going to get rolling. You are at VR and HCI. Who has never been here before? Matt has never been here before. This is a little bit of a different sort of format. Want you to have a lot of participation. We got a second mic ready to roll. So anytime you want to jump in, we're happy to pull up links, follow links, that kind of thing. Because we're going to all talk about Quest 3, and a bunch of us already own it and have varying opinions, and all the info is kind of late breaking because that's how meta rolls. And before we get to that though, let's just run through our normal startup routine. So you are at this meeting right here. As you may note, this is our last meeting in 2023. When I picked the fourth Wednesday of every month, I wasn't thinking about holidays, but in retrospect it was really smart because I got other things to do. We will have a social with the IGDA groups, all the different groups and special interest groups.
Full screen your slides.
12:13, yes sir. Well, that didn't work. What does F5 do on
That's
Google?
refresh.
All right, I knew that. We have a social on 12/13. It will be at Game Center again. I got a little more details about that later. And then the next MNVR will be all the way fourth Wednesday in January. So.
And Minnesota Electronic
Too
Theater,
soon.
which is all
Too soon. Too soon.
So the main thing is,
Too
most
soon.
of you should have gotten emails about it.
Look at that. Look at that. You didn't even ask me.
There you go.
You didn't
There
even
you
ask.
go.
It's coming. Yeah, let's run through this. So we are a spin-off of the IGDA Twin Cities, the Twin Cities chapter of the International Game Developer Association. And we've been doing this stuff since about 2013 for VR kind of things. And anything related, anything interesting that you can think of.
That's 10 years.
It is. IGDA TC meetings are open to everybody. If you have any problems, talk to one of us. If you don't feel comfortable, email us. You can reach us on Discord, you can reach us on our website, our email address is there, and at the bottom of every slide. We are an all-volunteer board. That's us, that's Zach, that's David, and there's some other folks that do other things. And in addition, we have volunteers that cover a variety of things, special interest groups, social media, Bradley's, all crazy sorts of AV, you name it, we got it. And if you're interested in helping out or just have suggestions, get in touch with us. International Game Developer Association, you can become a member if you do mention the Twin Cities chapter. We get a little kickback in theory after some amount of people. And if you ever are going to the Game Developer Conference out in San Francisco, it's worth signing up before you go. The discount is equal or greater than the actual membership fee. And here's our regular event schedule that is ending this month. So first Wednesday, Devs Play Games. And is that continuing?
Yeah. I mean, it is this month.
Yep. Do you know what you're doing for November?
I guess November.
And yeah, that's right. November, December.
November 1st, and then no December, it'll be combined with
The social.
and stuff at the social
Cool.
party thing.
Okay. Yep. Second Wednesday is our long-standing game dev meeting at the Nerdery. And you got one more of those to go before we switch to the social in December. Third Wednesday, Twin Cities Playtest. And that's at Noble Robot. And that is in Minneapolis. And fourth Wednesday is this. You're here now at REM 5. Thanks, Round 5. Woo! And yeah, this is the last one for the year. And then we have special interest groups in addition. We actually added these all up. We kind of came back from COVID with a vengeance. We've done 60 events this year. It's kind of nuts. 60 plus is how we put it to the
Live events?
Yep. So the Women Games Gathering at Wisdom at the Mall of America, and a POC get together again at Noble Robot. And Discord is where we're trying to move things gradually. There's still a lot of us that like Slack better, but
Yeah, Slack.
that's a momentum thing more than a feature thing, I think. But if you're working on a game and you want to get your own channel and don't want to administer an entire Discord server, we give you channels, and you can do that there on our Discord. And now, Scott,
Oh, okay.
here, talk.
No, well,
No, you.
I'm sorry, I've gotten a medical deferment from being involved in it, but apparently it's happening the Thursday after Thanksgiving, in person again, in a bar with human beings. Whoa. And it hasn't happened it's been remote for 3 years, I think.
Yep.
And some really good people are handling it. And the most important thing is, you want to just hit that link really quick? Can you? Or is that? Never
Oh,
mind.
not in full screen.
Yeah, that's okay.
What is it?
Well, this is where I tried to get Lemke to do this at the meeting 2 weeks ago. I just didn't have enough energy to do it. Minnesota Electronic, it's the annual showcase for the celebration of Minnesota visual effects, motion graphics, and animation. And what it is a big party where a bunch of people get together in a bar and drink and eat. And in the past, we've had guest speakers, and no one's talked about that this year. But the main thing is there's a juried reel of cool animations that people have made in town. The electronic theater is a thing that the global SIGGRAPH group has been doing for 50 years, I think now. And it's the coolest thing in the world. It's the coolest graphics you can ever see. And so Minnesota started trying to do it 20 years ago, and I've been running it for like 10 years or something, or had been running it. Anyway, the coolest thing is, if you've got some cool graphics that you've done, like for instance, the company that Matt works for, always has stuff in it. What's that?
I didn't work on the program.
Well, I don't like that. But if you had some cool graphics that you could put in a video that you could show people, you could go to this website and submit it before the end of the month. And then it sort of gets run through a jury, and then people show up. But the big thing is you come and you talk to a bunch of people. We've had 250, 300 people sometimes, but we'll see how many come this time. Mm-hmm. And you get together and you see your friends, and then you all sit around and watch a cool video, and then you talk about it, and then you drink and eat some more. And anyway, but the thing that you got to do first is, if you or anybody you know has got some cool thing that could be in a 2 to 4 minute video, 3 minute video, that has something to do with the computer, which doesn't have anything to do with computers now, that's animated or synthetic. Please submit it before the end of the month, and then come to it. Yeah. And it happens before the party, and so the actual event is the 30th of November. So it's in about a month.
Yep. Yep.
Doors open at 5, and the courthouse, if you've never been there, it's the middle of downtown Minneapolis.
Pretty close to Target Center, kind of.
Yeah, kind of near the Target Center, right off of the light rail, and it's a hoot.
Yep.
And if you stick around and afterwards, like late at night, you can dance with college kids.
We'll cut that out of the live feed. But having been away from animation industry for a couple decades, it's interesting just to see how it progresses and how the level keeps rising and rising for smaller and smaller teams.
And it's just a great group of people.
Yep.
It's a lot of artists and a lot of nerds of caliber of this group. So it's just good people to hang out. So.
Yep. So definitely something to consider whether or not you actually do animation of any kind. it's really interesting to see all this stuff that's going on. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So did you get an email?
Probably. I get too many emails. It's an issue.
I'm not doing the emails this year, so I have no idea whether anybody's getting.
We didn't have any other people sign up for plugs. Does anybody want to do a verbal plug, or I can pull up a website? Gone. Okay. So you want to plug something next month? You cannot. Remember why? Because we are not meeting next month. But we will see you at the Holiday Social, December 13th at Game Center in Roseville. How many people went to that last year? Yeah. All right. More of you should go this year.
They have a dish named after me that you can eat.
They got food named after Gaff, and they got beer named after beer, and it's a big, large place, and we get a giant room to ourselves, and there's kind of this incredible nerd store in the front of it. If you've never been there, but yeah, definitely mark that on your calendar. And while you're doing that, there will be a Global Game Jam site again. That'll be the last weekend in January, so you can start working on getting permission to be a nerd for an entire weekend away from your friends and loved ones at the end of January. We will have our next VR meeting right before that, though. So.
Is that going to be at some place, or is it going to
Working
be
on it.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere. Last year we did Noble Robot. That's always a place we could do if we can't get a larger place. It worked good. It was a little crowded, but
It's going to be
I thought you were
a
gonna say
snowy
we-
parking lot.
Yeah, oh, it's sorry, like, hold on, later.
I thought
yeah.
you were going to say we did a normal robot, which means we
Fish-
can't go back
fishing
there because we
houses?
can never do it in the same place twice.
Nope, they liked us okay.
Is it a curse?
And he's on the board, so owner of Noble Robot. All right, so moving on here. We did have the two presentations, if you saw in the Slack, but probably not the Discord because I'm one of the Slack people. The links is here. There it is. Beyond that, it's going to be a short update, and we'll come back to it in a few months and tell you how it's progressing. But yeah, we'll switch right to that for now. So, slide 1, slide 2. So,
First question for you, Zach.
yeah.
How long did it take for you to get it?
Oh, that's on slide 2. There was a Kickstarter.
2021. Oh my God.
2021. This was going to be the first high quality pass-through mixed reality headset, and I'd actually been following it prior to that. Stan, who was the founder, was bringing around a functional prototype to all these optics conferences and kind of getting rave reviews before he got the idea that he was going to build multiples of these. And if you'll, am I logged in? Not so much. Let's see if my web browser knows me. Yes, it does. This is the fun part. View pledge, estimated delivery date, April 2022.
59 now.
But also, this takes a little bit of the sting out, not really, but.
So you were back on 59 and you just got it like last week?
Same day as the Quest 3. So back then with shipping, $500. These days, $850. If they truly are selling them, it's not clear. But
Can people who aren't kickstarting get it now? Or?
yeah, I think.
$1,300 for it. Though.
Well, no, that's for businesses. You guys would want to get this one. That's the same thing for half the price.
$900.
Yes, if that is truly for sale, I'm not sure. Yeah, so they pivoted back because of all the delays kind of related to supply chain and COVID, and just every Kickstarter that does hardware always has delays. They kind of missed their early opportunity, and the Quest 3 shipped with a faster CPU and GPU. But still, the things that distinguish it is just kind of truly designed for mixed reality, not a VR headset that does mixed reality. Whoops. Help. The eye to camera distance is the best of any headset that exists anywhere. So all the distortions that are needed to give proper depth on the pass-through feed kind of don't apply. So all the weird artifacts you see on the Quest 2 and Quest 3 and Quest Pro aren't really in here. And that's because they use these super crazy lenses, which you'll see right here, that have a super crazy name that I won't try to pronounce. But it's essentially 4 prisms, and the light kind of bounces out and then bounces inward.
Did they send you extra lenses for?
Nope, but you can try the real lenses in the real headset as long as you don't touch the ratchet. I'm really scared about that. Don't actually ratchet it to your head.
Didn't they send them out to some people? They sent extra?
They said there were, yeah, but if number 59 didn't get them, there weren't very many. There was like 50 of them or less. But yeah, it's super interesting. Enough so that Apple bought the lens company, Limback, and they will not be making lenses for the Lynx 2. But the Lynx guys got together with Somium, and Virgin Ears, which is another big European VR headsets for flight simulators, really expensive, and invested in that Hypervision, there we go, that we saw after they were at several conferences, but they had the 140-degree stitched pancake lenses, if you remember that, and they got some YouTube play from that at the Augmented Reality Expo is where most of the YouTubers saw.
Can you explain what you and Matt were talking about? Why would you get extra lenses?
They just said they were gonna shove extra lenses in the boxes because they were hand inspecting them as they came from China to France on their way to wherever they're going.
And those particular ones were outside the headset, so you can see the full lens rather than.
Yeah, it's such a weird lens that they have a picture on their website. Let's see if I go here, but back up.
What are they for? What are the ultimate lenses for?
They were just as.
They're just spare samples from the factory.
Oh, I see.
Somewhere in here.
So it wasn't like you were expecting them to
No,
fail.
they're not like spares or anything.
No, yeah, there's real specific calibration as they assemble it. It would be for like, holding up to a screen or a phone or.
I think at the top there was a header unique lens design, the very top.
Right up.
Oh, down actually.
Down.
Right.
There it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a great
It
picture.
is. Very speculative.
That's very unique.
Yeah, it's encourage you to try it out. It does end up having a very small eye box, meaning the spot where your eye needs to be to have it good. But it is real counterintuitive that you can have that plus cross thing right in the middle of your view and not see it, but that's exactly what happens. And then the second thing is they're kind of indented a little bit. Let me power it on while I'm doing this. I won't try to hold the camera up, that goes really poorly. So try to align it with the camera. One of these is a power button. There we
So
go.
how long have you had it? Oh, so like since the 3 came out.
Yep. And I'll get a video feed going of it a little bit later. But if people want to try it out, I'll get a video feed up onto the TV so you can see that this crazy plus sign is exactly like you'd think. You had to pre-process your image into 4 triangles that don't look like they belong together, and actually in your vision they overlap slightly to give kind of a super sampling thing towards the center. It's weird, is what it is. And the reason they did it, as opposed to Fresnel lenses or the pancake optics that everybody else did this generation, is it's a lot brighter than pancake optics, a lot more efficient, and it sort of goes around your eye a little bit. And when you look past the edge of the lens, you don't see plastic as you'd expect, you just see past it. So it gives a lot wider field of view than you'd think by looking at the lens by itself. So it's interesting.
What was the field of view? No?
I don't think they've published that, yeah. It feels like a Quest 2. When we start talking about the Quest 3, it does have a wider field of view, but that's because they cheated and didn't do full binocular overlap in the center. But to me, this feels like a Quest 2. So, so just the rundown for people that haven't heard the spiel before. We talked about this. The thing that will always distinguish it from everything else is that developers have full access to the camera feeds. So you'll see the interesting tests of computer vision stuff happening there. It's got ultraleap hand tracking, which has been the best for a long time. I would say that Quest 3 is starting to rival it in some cases, but we'll see once this is kind of tuned up if it.
Does it even come with controllers, or is it all?
No, yep, it's an add-on that they're not shipping yet, but it was always designed for pass-through. And when we're looking at the front here, pass-through cameras, infrared illuminators, the actual cameras for the Ultraleap, and then 2 more tracking cameras. So it's a lot of the hardware is developed and dedicated to the Ultraleap hand tracking. And then the fact that they're in France and the EU, they're not Facebook, and they're not in China. That'll keep them probably alive for a while for their specialized audience. And there is this whole group of people that's super excited to just replace everything they ship in terms of software, because they've said they'll always have an open bootloader. So there's a Linux port happening right now. They're going to be running X Windows for no good reason on a headset. It's pretty fun to watch.
Is that an SD card slot I see?
Yep, an SD card slot. Yeah, yep. Yeah. So I think it'll be around for a while. It'll never have any kind of mass market consumer thing. It'll be a hacker platform. The wiki's already kind of up and running. And because it shipped later than planned, you know, it's behind on the chip. This is the last gen that everything other than a Quest 3 has. But pretty soon you'll start to see other of the Chinese headsets get the XR2 Gen 2. And then just the screen resolution doesn't quite match up with what everybody else is shipping these days. But the camera resolution is also lower, but because it doesn't have to be mangled so hard to be corrected, because the camera position is so good, I would say it's on par almost with the Quest 3, and it's definitely better than a Quest Pro. Yeah, and then there's a Discord where everything happens, like everything does these days, separate from this. But yeah, so I think I encourage people to take a peek at the lenses just to see it for themselves, and then I'll be back in January and hopefully be working well and have good demos to run. But today it ships with the browser. It has some real issues. The big one being, if you want to charge it, you plug in a cable. It boots up and runs the CPU full speed. And then you're like, oh, but you can just put it to sleep. There, now it's charging. Okay, then you unplug it and it turns the screens on, runs the CPU full speed. And then you ask somebody, what happens if there's not enough battery to boot up and run the CPU full speed? And they're like, oh, then you have a problem. So we're waiting on a firmware to be able to drain the battery very far. Yeah. So this is what happens when you do Kickstarter hardware and then ship it just as fast as you can. Yeah, so I think in January it'll be in good shape. They say no. There's one guy in the Discord that can't use this headset.
That's what I would say if I was selling something.
Yeah. And then the other big glaring fault is just on the first entire shipment, the microphone doesn't work at all. And they say they'll just replace the headsets once they've shipped all the Kickstarter backers. They'll start replacing the first batch that went out. So I'm looking forward to that. I want my Ratchet to last at least that long. That's the thing I'm worried about right now.
That'd be nice to get one for spare parts.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's it. Just a quick update on that before we move on to the Quest 3. Any questions? Any weird takes?
What's the weight compared to like Quest 3?
It's a lot lighter. The battery's in the back, and
It should be lighter.
yeah, and it's this little thin guy. Without the lenses sticking out, there's really not much there, and then it's just very small in general.
Did they make blinders for it?
Yeah, yep, that's one of their things on their website. Although if you're doing VR, I don't know why you'd use this headset.
Yeah.
You'd use a Quest, any of them. You'd get about the same experience out of it. But yeah, that's some of their accessories that they have. And the little pads are magnetic. They go on and off.
So what you're pretty much saying is that this is maybe for doing what everybody wanted the HoloLens to do. This is going to be
This is for doing non-VR.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely the market they're going after. They wanted to replace the HoloLens and do it without see-through optics, but do it with pass-through. And it does run OpenXR. It does have a port of Mixed Reality Toolkit that already runs. So I think that's where it'll get to, and maybe in the EU, I don't have a good read other than the few corporations I deal with at work, how everybody else feels about Facebook these days. Because they did announce a new enterprise thing at MetaConnect, but they didn't announce different terms of service or different data use rights, which was the big attraction of the previous iteration for Quest 2, was that they would not touch your data, and they didn't bother this time around. They're just like, yeah, you got a consumer headset, we'll give you, we'll give you extra service and support.
They did say they're using the Microsoft Enterprise software for all their
For the MDM features.
for the deployment of apps and stuff.
Yeah. And from what I've heard from people that have shopped the other competitors that took their place when they were out of the market for an entire year, that it just is missing features. There's no reason to get it at all. So then the question just becomes, yeah, they'll use Quest headsets for how long until, what will it take before they won't use Quest headsets anymore and they'll switch to a different brand. But I think that'll be the thing that keeps these guys rolling for a while, because they are based in France, based in the EU. So yeah, so that's that for links, and hopefully I'll have a lot better news and cool demos in January.
So anybody else in town have one of these, or?
Anybody else in the state? Anybody know a friend that got one?
Nope.
The Kickstarter, let's see if that's still in the history. There it is.
I let Zach be the guinea pig on this one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Matt took
I
one for
was
the
waiting
team on the
for
last
Matt to
year.
say.
It's a,
Well, I got mine before Zach got his, I just didn't want to say anything.
yeah, there was roughly 1,000. Not every one of those persons got a headset. Some got more than one. I pity them. But then if it holds up, I mean, they got them at $500 instead of $800 or $1,300. So.
You can sell yours for a profit.
Uh-huh. you want to buy it?
I'm good, thanks.
I've got enough of those. Yep. All right, let's see. Paul checked in. Oh boy, no. All right, someone's going to have to do a Paul Christian impression. Who can do the best one? We're done with that guy. Moving on.
We need a bandana.
Yep, we need a bandana. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one. I got a headband. He did convince me to start using headbands during development. It makes a big difference. All right. So I want people just to shout out. We'll bring you a second mic. Does anybody know where it is? Here it is. I know Matt's going to talk first. Here, I'll put it by you. Yeah, that's it. Otherwise, the power's on the bottom. So last month, our meeting was actually after the first day of Oculus Connect and before the second day of Oculus Connect, which is a little bit strange. So we kind of did cover the first day well. But for people that were not with us last month or did not check out Connect, it used to be the best VR conference there was for many years. And then it started to change. And there was that year where they decided to change the word Facebook into Meta. And we spent 45 minutes of our keynote on that. And then last year, there was like, hey, we're all going to get some legs on our avatars. And everybody's like, no, that's a lie. And they're like, yeah, that was a lie. And then this year, it was the least VR of any year. So that would be good to have Paul here because he was there in person, and he seemed a little bit sad, a little bit heartbroken when I was texting back and forth with him during the keynote. But yeah, for some reason the keynote was delayed, and then there was a short Quest 3 introduction where they didn't even cover all the features. So as opposed to a year ago where they overpromised things that weren't real, this year they just skipped things that they released like a couple weeks later and didn't mention them. And then they talked about AI a lot, because you know, that's what Apple does, so that's what Facebook does, is use your tech conference to just do a press release about weird stuff. And they're going to have an AI that features Snoop Dogg. And
Oh, it's not very good. It told me not to smoke weed. I'm serious.
he's playing a character, it's not him. So yeah, and there wasn't even a transition. He said, well, this is awkward, we're just going to talk about AI now. And you just do Chat GPT, but watered down, and then a little tiny icon of Snoop Dogg makes faces at you while you do it.
Well, I think we know what to do.
All the plants in the audience are very excited about this.
Sure that wasn't Paul?
He was sitting almost in this position, actually.
Yeah, well, you were texting him. You should have told us where he was sitting.
Ooh, yeah. All right. Yep. Well, a little face of celebrity goes through a canned animation.
Stupidest demo ever.
Yeah, it was really tough.
The only reason I tried it was I got an Instagram notification saying to try it, so I'm like, oh, okay, let's see how it actually works.
And I think a lot of people will, get their first taste of AI that way. People that aren't following what's happening.
But it's just how it looks. It's just a looping animation of his face in ChatGPT. So.
Bring it back to the 90s.
Yeah. So other things, other than the Quest 3, which we'll talk about in depth. Whoops. Oh, we're in full screen. I don't know how this works. They're going to add their version of kind of persistent things to your mixed reality home. Persistent little mini apps like you saw in the Apple Vision Pro demo. Like if you're cool and hardcore, you saw on a Magic Leap many years prior to the Apple demo. And we'll see how they play out. We'll see if we get to do them, if they're going to be super limited in terms of compute and all the other resources like you think they have to be. And then the depth API, which they didn't show anybody and was missing, and everybody that reviewed the Quest 3 was mean about. It said it was coming to December. They released it 4 days after they released the hardware instead of December, so it's been out for weeks. Body tracking was not mentioned in the keynote anywhere. That's kind of exciting. That is coming in December, we think. And the big key use of that, if you remember from a month ago, is when you don't have body tracking, you just assume the body's below the head. So you look over a ledge, your body tracks underneath your head, and then you fall off the ledge. Or in their example, to walk the plank, look over the edge. Without any sense of where the body is in VR, that's just been one of the classic problems. And hopefully this is halfway decent. Really anything would be better, I think. Well, I'll eat those words, I can tell, but that's one of the things I'm excited about, just for kind of the new camera placement and what they'll start to do with them as they go forward. Because other than the Quest Pro, they have a good track record of releasing features and software updates and improving things. Quest Pro is another story. Performance specs on the Quest 3 and details on new tracking volumes. I got slides about that. Building blocks for Unity. I want to say, Matt, did you use them?
Yeah. I tried out building blocks for Unity because I'm porting an app from Unity 2020 to Unity 2022 and resetting a bunch of stuff. It actually worked really well, so I just imported the Oculus SDK V57 is the one that has it. It just released recently. You just go in the upper menu and it's under Tools and the Oculus settings in Unity. Building blocks, a nice looking polished menu shows up and you can just drag building blocks into your scene to build like a VR player controller. Yeah, that's it. Pass through. So it's very easy to just get a demo up and running with the new pass-through stuff. So works pretty well.
Cool.
The only thing that I think it's lacking is hand models for when you're using controllers. For some apps, even when you're holding controllers, you still want to show hand 3D models, and there's no building block for that yet. So I had to build that from scratch.
Yeah, and I could see that kind of being a big boon at game jams and stuff, just to get things up and running.
Yep.
If you go to get their samples, they're a little bit hard to digest because they have so many features in them. They're fully functional apps a lot of times. But yeah, here's some of the stuff they got in there. So if you know kind of an interaction or something that you want to monkey around with, it's a good way to get things up and running. And for a while, I would say their project configuration wizard has been working pretty well.
I will say though, if you're thinking about deploying an app on multiple hardware like Pico or anything else, you're better off using Unity's XR Interaction Toolkit, which has like essentially a bunch of the same stuff, but it's just done in a generalized OpenXR type of way.
Yeah.
One caveat to that is there's quite a few Oculus specific features that don't work with Unity.
Yeah.
Layers is one thing.
They don't work when you're using OpenXR? Yeah.
When you're using the Unity OpenXR.
Oh, gotcha. Same way in.
And then the interaction system from Unity does not support cluster layer at all because it's not wired up in the Unity engine. So those features require.
Gotcha. Yeah, same problem on the Unreal side. When you get to some of the specialized graphics things, you either have to switch away from OpenXR or even worse, go get the Oculus version of the Unreal Engine. But yeah, and then the simulator, did anybody take a look at that? I think that will be a big deal. Encourage people to take a look. The one that really caught my eye, so as you'd expect, it emulates, you know, a piece of hardware, and you can do awkward things on the keyboard and mouse to do inputs. But then when you get to the mixed reality functionality, you can actually hook it to your headset. You can install a special APK in your headset and record your own room out to the simulator. And then when it's out there, you can start to modify, you know, where your boundaries are on your table or your walls or that kind of stuff, right inside the JSON files. So it sounds really interesting. So kind of out of the box, you get 3 pre-built environments, so you don't have to do your own, or if you want to, you know, share a sample project with somebody that obviously won't have the same room as you might as well use one of these pre-built environments. And then you can start recording your own environment and dumping it out to the simulator, and then you can edit it there too. So that sounds like that would be a huge deal in terms of workflow and stuff, and when you're trying to debug things, rather than putting on the headset every 5 minutes. So definitely encourage people to check that out and then come tell us about it. This is the part with Paul. So when you're there in person, all right, last chance for Paul. Let's see if he's here. No, he had a work deadline. Hopefully we'll see him at the bar. So like there's a 30-minute delay, so everybody just sat around for an extra 30 minutes, and he decided he was going to record that while he was waiting. And then turns out these are real people. They appear in live and physical space. And I think probably the most impressive part would have been this screen. This is a bright sunny day outdoors and very legible screen with high contrast. And then there was an SVR meetup timed to the end of the Connect conference since people would be in town. And we'll have to bring this up for next month, but he was really impressed with some haptics demos that he gave there. And apparently this talk by Blair from, what game does he make? I forget. He makes that Blade Runner looking game.
Oh,
Yeah. He's one of the original people from that group. But we'll bring Paul back for these 2 slides, I guess in January.
He's still doing PC VR, right?
Yep, he is, yep. And he's still basically solo with contractors. It's pretty crazy. If you attended in VR, I mean, there's a couple of ways it could have gone down. If you were me, you got your Quest Pro, you turned on eye and face tracking for the first time in months, worked out the worst face you could make in the mirror and grabbed a screenshot for your local user group. And then they had this nice detailed environment where you could watch it, and there was a delay, so you spent time by seeing how badly you could break the IK for the controller arms. You can break it pretty badly. All the other strangers around you are impressed with how badly you can break it. But you may notice all these people in this environment have legs. They have legs now. And so when you're walking, see an avatar walking by, they now have legs that slide against the ground as they move at a different speed than their feet across the ground. It's really great. And then also because everybody picked on Zuck for his undetailed textures, there's detail on everything. Trees, wood grain, and when you're in VR, just aliases and flickers and the distance all the time. And that's the new metaverse. Here's the legs, if you missed them. And then actually it was pretty cool. After this got rolling, it was a stereoscopic, really sharp, I would say like 720p or better presentation of exactly what Paul saw, but from a better camera angle. And then my headset hard locked and I lost all the footage I was trying to capture of that. But it was really neat while it lasted. And Matt, how was your experience in the metaverse?
My experience was awesome for the first 30 seconds before Zach got there. Yeah, I saw everything was great. I was running around, I saw the screen, log back out, would never log back in for the entire rest of the event. So,
Yep.
Zach, I got to live vicariously through.
And then we just watched it on a TV. Yeah.
Correlation or causation?
You know, hard to say. It's a metaverse. So running through kind of new details that we didn't talk about last month. So these augments, they were not specific, but of course, they'll have a nice Facebook feed like you already do in VR. And all the little videos and random things that aren't TikTok that you'd want to see. And then some sort of 3D objects of some kind. And then some photos of some kind and things. So this did happen on Magic Leap. It probably happened first on the HoloLens 1, but it was just really an animated thing that you could play or not play. And there's 3D objects placed around your world, and your kids would clutter up your whole house with animals and spaceships and monsters and things. But when it got to the Magic Leap, then it was an actual app that you could deploy, and it had these super tight performance restrictions on it. And you kind of hear that with what they've said about the Apple Vision Pro stuff, the stuff that'll run inside a boundary, and a user can constrain your boundary at any time or change it, and you've got these real tight performance considerations you got to hit so that you can run multiple apps in a real-time view without destroying everything. That's going to be a lot harder to do on Android than it will be on the Apple Vision Pro, so we'll see where they get to and what we're allowed to do kind of in that playground.
To that, touching on that a little bit, I mean, Apple's doing a bunch of crazy stuff to force people to use their rendering technology.
Yep.
To support being able to do this. So it'd be interesting to see.
Yep, that's a good point. You don't even.
And I can try and do similar to that to get it to function as good.
You know, you get to pick your shaders or your rendering or anything. It's all done for you on the Apple Vision Pro. This is the big thing I think that I was surprised they did not mention during the keynote. This is the thing I'm kind of most excited about. So I've always liked foot tracking but never wanted to deal, of course, with the setup or the calibration. I don't know that there's much audio here. Let's see. Oh yeah. I'll turn it up. Oh, I'm already up. It's the video.
Oh, okay.
From the headset camera, we can detect the position of the wrists, elbows, shoulders, and torso joint. This allows us to create a much more natural and accurate tracking system. Using IoT makes a huge difference in advanced motions like jumping jacks, shoulder presses. Notice that in this video, when you exercise in motions like jumping jacks, the hands and the body follow the natural motion even when they are out of view. It also helps in sports motion, like tennis or shooting a basketball, where the arms and hands go out of view or suffer from occlusion. Tackling hand tracking loss also leads to a big improvement in social experience. You will now be able to drive your character with your own motions more naturally. You can walk around, cross your arms, or even stay a bit high without having to worry about your character losing tracking. IGDA also provides more natural tracking of elbows and torso. Notice that when the actor bends forward, the character on the right really leans forward. Leaning to the side is tracked naturally instead of the character moving sideways. Elbow movements and even elbow strikes are now tracked well. After discussing upper body, now I'd like to introduce Vibor, who is going to talk to you about legs.
We really wanted legs to be something that are available to all users. And with the recent advancements in AI, we think we can do this without any additional hardware or user friction. We call this approach generative legs. Generative legs use the information of your upper body combined with cutting-edge AI to generate what your lower body might be doing. This approach works with 3-point body tracking and also with inside-out body tracking. You can see the natural leg movement in common social poses like standing, sitting, or walking. You can see how naturally the character moves. It can also do advanced fitness motions like jumping, ducking, or even squatting. It also works well for upper body leg sports like boxing, table tennis, or even cricket. The AI that we built for this provides much more natural and human-like results than using IK-based approaches which provide rigid and wooden-like legs. Now we want to be very clear. These are generated legs and not actually tracked legs. That means if you're doing something that cannot be guessed from your upper body motion, the legs will not actually reflect the actual moves. As you can see, when the actor lifts his leg, the character does not reflect this move. Similarly, while sitting and crossing your legs, the motion isn't reflected. Now, despite its limitation, we believe generative legs will take full body experiences to a vast majority of users due to no additional cost and no user friction. We are excited to share that generative legs will be available on MetaQuest 3, MetaQuest Pro, and even MetaQuest 2.
We've also created a reference game which has a much higher quality of projection. It shows you the dynamic gameplay.
All right. And yeah, then they have more samples. I'll just let that play in the background. So yeah, the legs will be coming to Quest 2, and I'm less excited about those. But they are a big step up if you've ever had to kind of deal with the different IKA solutions out there. They're just barely okay. They just kind of shuffle underneath the person's upright torso like it's a marionette on a string, just kind of weightlessly sliding their feet around. So this is their sample game that I guess they'll release in December or whenever this comes out for the headsets. But to kind of show in way too much detail example of a gameplay thing you can do with a lot better upper body tracking. So it'll be nice.
So can you actually kick the ball?
No, you can't kick the ball. Upper body tracking.
Clipping off the feet and all that video footage too, or is that just a crap set?
Say again?
Are they clipping off the feet intentionally to not show them in the video?
Probably.
Not to show it sliding around.
Whoops. See, that can't work the slide deck. Yeah. So that's something that's coming real soon. And where were we? Right there. Okay. The real big news about Quest 3 was the It's the first headset to have finally a new Snapdragon chip. The second generation of the XR2, so XR2 Gen 2, because the part they're leaving the same is Qualcomm Snapdragon, all the syllables, and then they're putting Gen 2 at the end of the thing, so everybody's really confused. XR1, not in the same category. It's sort of like I don't know, it's like an i5 versus an i7 or an i3. They want that to be the lane and the form factor and the power envelope. Something like an XR1 is supposed to go on ultralight glasses. Something like an XR2 is for headsets that are, something like 20 watts of power that they draw. So the big news is the GPU in there. If you don't need much extra CPU, you get more than 2.5 times GPU. And they don't specifically say what that is, but it sounds like it's a combination of pixel shader and just raw rasterization throughput, because they're encouraging people to start looking at shadows again, start looking at deferred rendering, and post-processing, multiple light sources, all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting.
I just want my balloon back.
What?
I just want balloon back.
Oh, yeah, you can have it. And that's all. That's all you can have that. But that's a good trade-off. And you can kind of see if you want more CPU level, you can have almost 50% more, but you're going to give up a lot of the GPU gains to do that. So it'll be interesting to see the trade-offs. And as we all noted, that's coming up a little later, Quest 3 did not get great battery life right out of the box. It was kind of shocking, but
my first session was less than an hour.
Yep. Yeah, I got some raw numbers here that some guy collected. Another thing that maybe went under people's radar, doing room layouts for multiple rooms. So you can walk around and scan your home and make wireframe mesh. I did my entire upper floor and a good half of my basement level, and then the split level in between. Before it decided that was enough polygons, but you could only ever set up tables and furniture in one room, and you kind of have to clear it out and go to a different room with a different set of surrounding walls. So that is coming, to be able to set up full setups for multiple places.
Can you do stairs? Like, can you walk continuously between different floors?
So you can with that wire mesh thing, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that started happening in the last couple OS updates for Quest Pro and Quest 2 as well. But then you'd go to run an app and it would do some crazy shit. It would pick a floor. You'd be upstairs and it'd pick a floor, 10 feet down from where you are. You'd have to manually adjust and pull that up. So it's been allowing it, but it hasn't supported it well. The other thing you'll notice on the Quest 3 is you can run it with no, and actually this got backported as well to Quest 2 and Quest Pro. You can run with no boundary or guardian set up at all. And you can do 2D apps, you can do simple things in pass-through. And then as soon as you fire up a real VR app, it makes you set up a floor boundary right away. But it's headed in that direction of something like Apple probably, where you get automatically configured circle that's not that big. But
does the SDK have an understanding of a bed?
if you trace it as a box and label it a bed, it does. Yep. Yeah, the actual Spaces API hasn't changed at all. So to do planes and stuff, you're still drawing a box by hand. I'll fire that up here in a minute here.
Oh, special, you can get the coffin.
On first test, I just used the depth sensor to create the play space in my room. It did a decent job, actually.
Yeah.
Like it figured out where the floor was, and then did the space between the TV and the coffee table. And
yeah, I'm really happy with the depth sensor. It's not high resolution, but their algorithms do a great job. I would. What's that? Yep. Yeah. So we have some samples here that show kind of these terrible large depth texels as things get closer to the headset.
For IGDA, they went to 2 separate screens again, and it has an adjustment dial to go find between them.
What's that? Oh, interpupillary distance. So on the Quest 2, there was a single large screen, and you could slide your lenses, and they might sort of be in front of your eyes. There was only 3 choices. But if you pick the wide choice, which isn't wide enough for me, you'd see less screen. It would actually cut off the edges. So this has two separate, in the Quest 3 it has two separate lenses and two separate screens that move with them. So you're never losing out, and you can set them to a really wide range. I would say the outer range is something like 73 millimeters.
I think with the sweet spot of the lens too, it's actually slightly more.
That's true.
Because the more than just the center of the lens is usable, so
Yep.
at the extreme it's actually a little bit wider.
Yeah, the lenses are good enough compared to the Quest 2 that you actually can't just visually know that it's centered. You need to know what number you're looking for as you're moving them, because a whole range of things look totally fine.
That was the problem I had when I was setting it up.
Yep.
Go look at this type and adjust it till it all looks good.
Yep.
I set it to the same number I used to set up my one.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I was figuring it was my whacked eye. It was my bionic eye was screwing it up or something.
So yeah, compared to a Quest 2, like the lenses are the night and day difference. If you're using your Quest 2 for standalone VR, you definitely want that performance from that new chip in there. And then
weight is closer.
So the other benefit of pancake lenses is that they allow for a thinner headset. So
it's closer to your head.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Closer to your, kind of the center of mass is a lot closer to your face, so it feels lighter, even though it isn't lighter, it's slightly heavier. But I was able to resurrect my Oculus Go case here until I get the head strap that I want. And there's still room to spare. I could go smaller. But the Quest 3 fits in here, and it's kind of amazing.
I did notice putting it on, like my daughters are 7 and 9, and they use Quest 2 a lot, and I have the deluxe strap, the battery strap basically, and that actually has a lot smaller setting for head size than the new one for Quest 3. It actually doesn't go as small.
The Quest 3 doesn't go as small.
Yeah.
Interesting. These small controllers, they're back to working outdoors. So the Quest 1 mostly worked outdoors. The Quest 2 didn't work at all if you're even near a window too much. And these are full sunlight. I meant to have a nice, beautiful, glorious screenshot right here, but it's actually on the headset. We'll look at it once I attach the cable.
They actually work really well.
Yep.
I'm surprised. Like it's as good as Pro controllers. It feels like at least.
And the hand tracking is actually running at all times, so it's kind of out of the box, hands and controllers at the same time. The hand tracking is greatly improved, still not foolproof, but I think that's one of the things we'll see improve. The new camera placement helps with that a lot. All this high performance, and especially mixed reality stuff, means a short battery life. So that they actually just released 2 days ago a new OS update with battery options that I assume just nerf the top clock speeds on Quest 3 to make it like a Quest 2, I guess. If you have a Quest Pro and you're doing PC VR, no, you probably don't upgrade. You got the lenses, you got a slightly better screen actually. There's not a lot for you. And if you're in the market for mixed reality development, potentially, yeah. To me, this sort of feels like the DK2 phase of mixed reality. So the Oculus Dev Kit 2 was the first VR headset that, when it shipped, still made you sick. Eventually, they updated it to get the motion compensation in there, and then it magically stopped making people sick, like myself. This feels like that, where the Quest 2 had this gray pass-through that was awful. The Quest Pro had awful pass-through with a little bit of color smeared on it. This to me feels like kind of the first viable mixed reality, and it's still got a lot of shortcomings in terms of quality, but I think in terms of development, it does feel like it is the minimum platform that you need to do some of that stuff. But kind of getting into the nitty-gritty here, there has been, of course, no information. You have to rely on Reddit to help you out. Let me make this even bigger. No information on battery, no information on chargers, just some accessories you can buy from them. And even the things that they put in terms of the specs for the battery are like total nonsense in terms of like voltage and watts. Like I think they don't want people to know, and they don't want people to be bothered by all these details, so they just leave them off. but some random guy did do all this stuff to kind of measure the power draw. And here's the interesting part is that it gets well over 22 watts. Some people have measured like 24 or 25. So what Reddit's kind of saying is you need a 22 to 30 watt battery to be able to power this while you're using it in all cases. And if you get up to the 30 watt range, it'll actually charge while you're using it. And so that's actually kind of hard to do on a PC motherboard. I don't know if anybody's got experience with things that have worked or not worked for them. What's the behavior of the Elite battery pack while you're actually playing and doing mixed reality and stuff?
I haven't used that.
You went to sleep there?
I have a non.
Oh, you have Elite not with battery.
I did not decide. So it was $130.
I know it's $130, so I don't have one either.
So I was like, I'll just upgrade it on 70, and I'll just get a battery.
So yeah, so I've been focused just on using that depth sensor and just burning the battery down as fast as I can. So I don't think he has that actually on here. When you're playing a mixed reality game, it does go very fast. I don't think I have a cursor anymore. Whoops. There, I can see it just barely.
It did say a trade-off of the pass-through is you lose performance across the board.
Yep.
So because of the resources it takes to use the pass-through.
Yep.
So it probably just drains the battery and all that much more.
And when I'm doing that, but I'm also leaving it in room scanning mode for a very long time, it is something like an hour of battery. Is all it can do on its internal battery. But this will be the kind of interesting part of it, I think, for a lot of folks. If we look at the sort of the official add-ons, like we talked about, there's just very small amounts of things, and they're kind of expensive. At least
it's interesting that if you say that it included the wireless charger, the charging dock, and like the strap, it's basically Quest Pro money.
Yep.
You know, like they basically just took accessories out of the package so they could lower the price.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
not really that much of a deal, I guess, compared to.
And clearly the entry-level $500 is subsidized again, like it was with other headsets.
So what's the charging dock?
Yeah, it's wireless, right?
So that it has charging over USB-C, but on the headset there's little pads. And like the Quest Pro had, you can set it in the little dock and it'll charge without having to have a cord hooked to it. So you could have on your desk the charger's sitting there, and when you're done, you just set it on the charger.
For just the headset?
It's the controllers and the headset. The controllers have little charging pads on them.
So do the controllers come with rechargeable
So
batteries?
when you buy the charger, the desktop charger, it comes with batteries you put into the controllers that have.
My
little
controllers have
pads.
regular batteries. They have to charge
So at that point, you don't have to use the double A's. You just take the
Gotcha.
charger.
Yeah. So Matt, the Quest 3 comes with just regular batteries in it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
2 AA's.
So if you buy the charging dock,
You get different
batteries.
batteries.
Batteries that you put
Gotcha.
into the controllers so that they can be charged for it.
The battery life on the controllers is actually really good. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't had a die yet at all.
It's traditionally been good on every controller they've made. The Quest Pro controllers obviously are probably more powerful than anything.
Let's see if
Quest
this.
3 controllers, I mean, I've had them go months.
All right, which one of those device names is my Quest 3, guys?
The top one says connected.
Good catch.
Unknown model though.
You know.
That's weird.
So I'm actually starting in VR for some reason. 'Cause- Don't worry, I got a screen copy.
Maybe that wasn't your Quest.
Quest is to find.
You got a software update, Zach.
Nah. Yeah, that's probably what it is on this particular laptop. I don't think I've done a Quest 3 on here. Okay, there we go. So it does have the canted lenses again, just like in the Quest Pro.
Which sucks, because then you don't get straight lines.
And if you start in VR, you get those terrible avatar things happening.
Green man?
Yeah.
I saw your
I don't think I'm on the internet.
tweets.
Yeah. So the new controllers are ringless, I guess would be the word. They do still have LEDs in them, and they're doing a combination of hand and controller tracking at all times. To let you.
You're still looking pretty gray there.
I don't think I have internet, yeah, but that's okay. We don't want internet. What we do want to do is just get into the settings. Just give an idea of how this works. So one of the new quick settings is that anytime you can go to pass through, and it says disabled. That's cool.
Oh yeah, turn that off too.
Oh, because I got boundary off completely in developer settings. That's why.
The boundary pass through, we turn all that off too. Let's save a little bit.
There we go.
It actually uses less power if you're using the whole.
There we go. Eventually that'll catch up, right?
Say that again, man?
If you turn off the home environment, it switches to pass through.
That is a
uses
serious
more-
lag.
That uses more power and resources than you lose performance. And
Yeah, it's like we're pushing a minute. I just wanted to show really fast the.
You can use the quick step.
Quit trying to distract me.
Wait.
It's really
Yeah.
Oh, good grief. Yeah, it's the delay.
It's all right. We'll still get the picture.
All right, guys. I'll try to. Does anybody see where the corner of this thing is that I can kill it? I can't see it through this. Capacitor's still not quite good enough to work Windows. There we go. All right. We are using controllers, yes. So the scan is very quick. It's got a good range. I don't have much cord to work with here right now, but you get this kind of resolution. You can do whole floors of your house in like a minute or so, and when it comes back, they'll refine the mesh. And then you can access this as one giant, terrible static mesh that I guess you'll have to chop up and piece apart yourself later. If I were to be able to get far enough, it would start identifying walls and putting planes on them for me. It's a good idea. That might cheer it up. It's looking for enough walls that it feels like it can judge
Turn it a little bit. There we go.
judge a distance. I guess I can walk.
So the wire tethered, is that that's so?
I'm not on Wi-Fi, and
Gotcha.
it's a whole lot
So
of
you can see what you're doing.
yeah, a lot of work. And then it volunteers to make a terrible. We've been calling it auto boundary. Add more walls. Yeah, I got one wall. There it is. 2 walls.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
So on a normal shaped room, like that goes fast and finishes and picks the right walls. 2 walls is all I get here. It's fun having some people in my thing. And then here's where the question was, it actually knows what a bed is? Yeah, if you do something like this. Like, yeah, so there's going to be a table here. And there it is. It is a couch table. Tell me when it gets there. Sound excited.
2 corners, 3 corners, it's a box. And it's labeled as a table.
See? Yeah, nothing better than a live demo. I totally lost my train of thought. So you can manually add things in, and then those are queried with a separate API. And then the very final thing is a real-time depth API that was just released and is in experimental status. And unfortunately, what it means, something's in experimental status, is every time you reboot, you have to Let me kill this view for a second. It's not going to get far. It doesn't have the internet. Although the laptop does, so I don't know what's going to happen. With their experimental APIs, you have to do, I'll have to even look it up because I don't remember. Actually here, I've got it linked on a slide. Coming up. There it is. Every time you reboot, and you can add this to your whatever environment you use for your ADB stuff. Let's see if we got one. Yep. So otherwise, your compiled application will not actually enable those API features for you. And then if you do, you can start having real-time occlusion. We verify that it's working. Yes, we can. All right, that's our shell. So you can vaguely see. I can't read the letters.
You're trying to type in the bastard?
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yep. There we go. Controllers come back. Yep, that's a new shortcut you can do. Double tap.
Oh, cool. That's a tough one to get working sometimes.
Sometimes they don't come back. For Unity, there are two different ways to access the depth API: the URP pipeline, universal renderer pipeline, or the built-in, the burp, built-in rendering pipeline. Oh yeah. But people are still using it. And likewise, there we go. Here comes the terrible auto boundary.
No one's going to use anything past 2022.
I'm just going to make my own boundary. Yeah, whatever. Let's go. Let me know when the app actually starts up over there.
They did, a bunch of stuff with cloud build.
Oh yeah, it's getting closer.
Where you have to update to the
So without any kind of real-time occlusion, this is the terribleness of mixed reality. Is you've got a virtual object and you're like, hey, it's under the table, and then it renders in front of the table, and you feel sad. And depth sensor can be activated, and you can see that the resolution is not great. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. So you can see these texels, once they're corrected for eye distance, are very large. And you can switch to kind of a fuzzy version. Yeah, and this works better than what every reviewer that's compiled this sample has done, which is immediately, you know, I'm angry that my hand warps the pass-through layer behind it, because when I do mixed reality, I want to hold my hand in front of my face. That is my goal, is to get my hand right in front of my face and block my view. Kind of missing the whole point that Apple showed us this thing. It's like, hey, put your hand down, dummy. And then all the VR reviewers were like, I'm pinching things because I got trained on a Quest 2. So our hands will be here. The cameras are on the bottom of the headset. We won't care that it distorts the view because we're not going to do this because this is stupid. Likewise, we won't take our hand and try to occlude things because it actually looks terrible. Tell me when that pops up. I can see my gestures and pass through. This is surreal. Yeah, the delay increases as we go. It must, the bit rate's too high or something for the encoding. It looks just awful. And even with the fuzzy version, awful. Because you shouldn't do this, this is bad. So all those people that showed this, tell them they're dumb and they should have done something else. And this is running here now. We have the experimental mode turned on. You guys can try it out for yourself. But there's just kind of a variety of different things. Obviously something with particle effects like this torch is where you'd use the soft occlusion and it work well. And you'll kind of see things biased towards ghosts and clouds and smoke and fire and magic effects on your fingers and things like that, because that's what the hardware supports. Kill that so we can regain some latency.
They had this enabled for their demo that shipped with the Quest 3, the one where the rocket ship blasts through the ceiling onto the floor.
You can put your hand in front of it?
Well, I walked in front of a couch and it was behind the couch.
So the mesh part was working, yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
not.
mesh.
Yep, this is
Not
the
depth,
actual
okay.
depth sensor. Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, and actually, strongly encourage you to use both in conjunction.
Right.
Is this the right link? I feel like it isn't because it's taken a while. Yeah, this is their weird, terrible landing page. I think I linked it myself. Yeah. So I see this evolving a lot over time, but they have these things of what's going to work and what's not going to work. So static occlusion, you want to use that mesh that's been baked in as you scan the room. Dynamic, hands, dogs, any kind of furniture that's moving around, or anything that's maybe not even showing up in that mesh, like skinny table legs and stuff. That's where you use the dynamic occlusion. And they say things that imply that it's gonna use both data sources eventually, where you'll be getting depth maps that use both that mesh and the real-time updates from the depth sensor. And then they talk about limitations at different distances and things like that. But mostly just wanted to get it running so you guys can see it for yourselves. Like I said, it is not meant for hands. So here is maybe better examples of how it's intended to be used. So if I make that any bigger, I don't think I can. But there it's furniture that could be moved, and you do see that at a distance, it actually does a pretty good job. It's interesting that that guy's shadow shows right through because it's alpha. Yep, exactly. It's in the alpha layer. You can do fog and different things like that. Here's an example of them doing it right, where you're like, wow, there's a thing behind the chair, and then they stick their arm in front of it and it goes badly. So the thing for hands will continue to be, as it is today, so everybody run this first hands sample.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just fire it up really fast until the lag gets too bad right here. But
I haven't run it on Quest 3 yet, but I ran it on Quest 2.
yeah, everything's the same. It's my VR space, that little circle. I just wanted to show the alpha cutout that they use. So they use these tracked hands, and then they just do a straight alpha cutout and show you the video feed just there. So there's a lag, and you can't get too close to yourself.
It just went black.
Oh yeah?
Oh, we're back.
So this is what you'll continue to use, I think, and maybe they'll come up with a hybrid for this plus real-time depth information. But this right now continues to be the kind of the best thing for hands. And it's not great, it's not perfect, definitely. But anybody that hasn't tried this, it's really great, and you can just get it off of Apple Lab. You don't need to have a developer account or anything. But a lot of great interactions built in here. Did it just die?
Right. Cut up, back down.
It's like my cord. We got tired of buffering the video. Just gave up. That's a wonderful thing to try for hand tracking. And then there's another one just called, actually I won't kill that, I'll just stay in here. Hey. These are full sample projects on GitHub as well. The other one is the Interaction SDK. If you haven't tried it, is it on here? Yep, doesn't have a logo. This has a whole pile of hand tracking stuff in it. Oh, that started at a terrible spot. Let's see if I can remember my gestures. Actually, it's got, just recenter it over here. So let's see if it'll let me switch to hands. Will not. Let me switch to hands, that's crazy.
You do one pen, one controller?
Yep, you can, but the SDK is really goofy. So sometimes this works for hand tracking. I don't know what's going on today, but this is worth checking out. Just there's like, it feels like the MRTK samples, but like half the things in here are good as opposed to like a quarter of the things.
What's it called again?
Just called, it's got a terrible name, the Interaction SDK sample. And of course, if it's on App Lab, you have to type it exactly right. Interaction SDK samples. Yeah, it's just really well done and some good stuff to build off of. And like I said, the full projects are on GitHub. Moving on from there. Maybe not. Oops, too soon. Are we already to that spot? Ooh, we are. So we had kind of skipped past the head straps. What has everybody gotten for third-party head straps going? There's these crazy widgets that'll take a Quest 2 head strap and adapt it to a Quest 3 if you have a 3D printer. Has anybody done that route?
No, we've talked about it though. We have a couple of 3D printers, but we haven't got around to it.
Yeah.
We did try a different head strap that had headphones built in, and the headphones didn't work. So we're exchanging it and we're gonna re-roll and see.
So that's the adapters, the blue things, and he's got a Quest 2 Bobo VR, which is my favorite head strap until I broke it. He's adapted it for Quest 3. And I think the flip up will be nice for development stuff. And since I've started using a Quest Pro, I just hate having this thing touch my face from basically now on for the rest of my life, I think. Yeah, so those options are out there. The Bobo VR was in stock for Quest 3 for one day and then never again. And you see a post on Reddit, hey, it's in stock, and then you go follow the link and it's not in stock anymore. And they're an interesting company. They're willing to sell you a conversion kit, so they're actually essentially competing against themselves to have you convert their old head strap for $16 rather than buying a new one from them. So that's kind of interesting that they're willing to do that. And I think they know their market, that people are doing it anyway. And then this guy got a really old flip-up head strap to work. I think it was probably from a Quest 1, because I went and bought one that looked exactly like this, and it went very poorly because it was from a Quest 2. I'm still hoping to adapt it with the conversion rails. But what's interesting about this one, which kind of went out of style, is the pivot point's a lot farther forward. So if you are doing this flip-up thing, it's gonna stay flipped up a lot better. You won't end up needing Velcro and rubber bands and stuff to keep it up there. So, and then nobody's using battery packs. Nobody's got a working battery pack they can recommend. So I've got several that I've used on so many headsets, and they're all worthless now.
So it's just not enough watts.
Yeah, hard to say because they can do 9 volts. 7 volts, 12 volts, all this stuff. They negotiate with all these different protocols that the different phones use. And Reddit doesn't like to be specific about anything, so they just kind of say 22 to 30 watts. And mine are all peaking out at 18, so.
What's the watt of the charger that's included with the
18, which seems like a lie. Seems like it goes higher.
saw someone online say that the Quest Pro charger is more, and that one works better than one.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I got one of those.
I haven't verified that, but you should check the one on Quest Pro.
Yeah, and I was hoping somebody had the official battery strap and could actually like photograph the tiny printing that's required by law to put on it.
It's $130.
I know. That's why I don't have one.
Quest 2 is $120, but it came with the case.
Yeah, that's right. It was
So
included.
you basically got a free case of it. This is full price with only surround.
When you go to buy prescription lenses, they're only $50, which is interesting.
So run that by me.
Yeah.
As,
You can buy
I've
it.
got glasses too, but
Yeah.
I'm nearsighted, so I don't really need glasses in a headset.
Right.
I need them to drive.
So
See far distance.
right. So
Here somewhere.
where do these prescription lenses go, and what do
They
they
go
buy me?
over top of the lens.
Yeah, I was on Zenny the other day and they were plastered all over the whole thing.
Yep.
It was like,
So you hold the headset, you just slip it over the lens, and it's
And what does this buy me from wearing my?
Buying them from Zenny.
You know, I didn't. No. I
you
mean,
would not need to wear your glasses then. You have to do your prescription lens. Need your headset.
Yep.
okay. But why wouldn't I want to wear my glasses?
Mm.
your glasses won't fit inside of the headset. They might scratch the lens with the feel on the inside.
I wound up buying a sort of smaller pair.
Did anyone figure out how to use the lens spacing?
Boy, I
Yeah.
tried that really hard.
Yeah.
I tried that. I was thinking I was going to have
It's
to do
scary
that with the glasses.
to hear the sounds
Yeah.
that it makes.
And I gave up. I thought, man, I don't want to break this thing before I get started.
So all the previous Quests had a little flimsy piece of crap plastic that you shove underneath this. This one's telescoping. There's little tiny buttons hidden inside.
Yeah.
They make
You
very.
first have to take that off.
So you have to take it off first. Okay.
It helps. You don't have
You
to.
don't have to.
They
That's-
say
I didn't take mine off.
they
It
say
makes these
on
terrible
the-
sounds.
They say in the explanation that you don't have to take it off.
Yeah. Makes these terrible sounds, and you got 3 notches.
I actually
To,
shoved mine closer to get a wider field of
Yep.
view with no glasses.
So this is supposedly getting it farther away from my face so my
Yep.
glasses fit.
yep. And there's a total of four notches. So
What does it
3.
come set to?
Ah,
2?
The second
Actually.
from the closest.
Okay.
to your
interesting.
face.
So you can make it that your glasses in there then? But
Yep. So this is now sticking out
See,
an
that's
extra
the thing, though, is,
half an inch or
is
so.
I wound up doing the other thing, which is I went and got tiny glasses.
Yeah.
And that don't have bifocals on.
And then-
In North from testing the review, he had those big, thick black glasses, and he was like,
They fit great.
Yeah.
he was.
They have made it awfully wide
They
to
fit. And he
fit
was like, I
glasses.
probably won't even buy the inserts because my glasses fit. They're fine.
So the problem I had with the glasses is my glasses are too wide, and they're still too wide
for this thing.
for that thing, yeah.
So just buy smaller
So
glasses.
I don't really, but, and then once I got these narrower glasses, they're pretty darn close to my eyes, and so I don't seem to really need it, but,
So for my money, this is over-engineered, and I don't know why this doesn't come off
yeah.
to wash.
But they didn't have to make a knob that telescopes the front in and out.
Yeah.
Right.
So I can't wait to replace this with a PVC leather, PU leather, whatever they're calling it these days.
Yeah. Whatever.
Not this.
makes,
Yeah.
That's superior.
But yeah, there's terrifying sounds to put this on and off.
I think there's another accessory that's a leather facial interface from Meta, correct?
Silicone.
I saw, yeah, I saw the silicone covers, and I hate those things. But
Does that one have the telescoping, or is it just a single?
like the orange and the blue thing.
No,
There's a silicone one too. It's black.
So there's these things that I think are the same.
Yeah, just below.
Yeah, that's silicone.
$40.
Wow.
That's like the Quest Pro for that thin, flimsy, vinyl, whatever,
Yeah.
silicone, whatever it is.
But there is
For the blinders, it's $50 for the immersive cover for that.
there is a ton of stuff on Amazon. Everybody's trying to clear out the Quest 2 content first. And there'll be more and more. But weird ass brands that you've never heard of and never will again. but a lot of this stuff is people trying to clear Quest 2.
A lot of people hate the hand straps.
Yeah.
They're ergonomic problems.
I'm not sure about that one. Oh yeah, and remember now the other reason I hooked up this cord is because I forgot to pull a photo off of this thing. Could be really any of these. What's the worst that could happen if I just go open random photos?
That's all you've been up to.
So
here's the kooshball thing that you have not played, Scott, because you thought I was old.
no, I haven't played. Well, no, I haven't played that thing. The thing I played was the thing with the little character with the big eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing I played.
Yep. This is worth trying. This is
So
like.
I just Googled, and supposedly the Quest 1 charger is 20 watts.
That's surprising.
Well, maybe not, because, you know, it was so old.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of
the
that.
battery faster, you know. Because I've
It's
been
true, it
using
wasn't.
I've been using my old charger, and it's charging really fast.
Oh.
And apparently
working
the Quest
good.
3 charger is 18 watts.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So I know a lot of people saw the videos of pass through and then experienced it for themselves and were sorely disappointed. And the only reason I had skipped past that is because I saw the specs said 2 megapixel camera, 4 megapixel 2K by 2K. That's not good. The ones that are actually good are like 16K, like on the Vive XR Elite, but then they don't do any depth correction. And one of the things you'll see is if you get a very detailed thing you're looking at like this, I was trying to capture it. This looks a little posterized from the JPEG compression, but in your pass-through view, like, this will look like a cartoon. Like, there'll be perfectly outlined circles of solid color. And on the captured video, it doesn't do that. On the headset view, it does totally do that. So yeah, just to set expectations, even what you saw over there is not what we're going for. So one of these is the glorious, there it is. There, the controllers, they work in the sun. They work very well. Let's pull that off here.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
No, even worked after this.
Your house is looking a little bendy though.
Yeah, that's true. Neighbor's house.
How much fun will it be if you tap the controllers and they disappear?
Yeah.
And what's really hard to tell here is I was actually trying to hide my hands inside my sleeves to not get a good hand tracking, because it can use hand tracking to track the controllers if you cover all the LEDs for it. It's pretty interesting. Well, that reminds me, yeah, there was one other set of slides that we missed somehow. Let's see if we can find them.
Question,
Tracking
random question.
ones.
If the cameras for pass-through are spaced your actual eye distance, why do they still apply so much like warp to like your hands? Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't that not be needed if they're true like stereo?
The spacing's right, but the field of view is wrong, and then the depth is super wrong.
Okay.
They're sticking out like
Okay.
here is their origin point, rather than back inside your retina.
Yeah. So field of view is probably the main thing.
Yeah, and the distance too. That's why they tried so hard on this thing to make it close.
Put the camera in your eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be actually correct, the camera focal point would be at the back of your eyeball, not even the front.
See the video of the guy on the bike racing his Guardian thing, like the
No.
It's like if you go fast enough, he's like the pass through, like it'll shut off the view, you know. Like,
Oh, if you're moving too quick?
Yeah. And he's like on the bike, like, and he's like racing it, and because when it gets to you, it goes black, and so you can't see it. It's basically racing
I don't know how they did not end up as slides. Let me hop on my drive for 1 second. Boink. Yeah, it's very front heavy now. It really likes to fall over right on top of its cameras. I'm not a fan of that. Presentations. And we saw the multi-room. I don't know why this didn't go in. So the big difference hardware-wise is camera placement. So on Quest 2 it was these 4 corners, Quest 1 same thing. Now we've got 2 front cameras, pretty much where your eyes are, and then 2 outward cameras, and nothing on the top. So as you can kind of imagine, here's the field of view that they shared. The Quest 2 had this huge field of view, that's what they did, and then they kind of optimized the Quest 3.
This is the tracking role.
Yeah, yep, so tracking controllers, hands, ground, everything, your shoulders now.
So what's the blue and the pink?
So this is showing the Quest 2, and I'm not sure why they're showing it. Oh, it's in stereo only in the front with the 2 cameras.
Gotcha.
It's not true that it was never in stereo on the Quest 2, but it was pretty close to true, and that's why the distortions were even worse. So in terms of what can and can't be seen by the different things, Quest 2 had all this above your head tracking that the Quest 3 just doesn't do, and then this interesting little pocket under your neck. The app I work on full time didn't want to do push to talk, so you hold your controller up and it becomes a microphone and goes live. So everybody gets lazy and they do this, or they tuck it in their shirt, or they do something else. And now the guy that designed that feature, he puts it here, and after a while his Quest 3 loses tracking and his hand just floats away from himself. And so we'll be changing that. But the Quest 3 adds all this really close tracking. It's not easy to see from this viewpoint, but especially with the rings out of the way now, there's all kinds of tiny manipulations you can do right in front of the headset and not lose it. And then downward, there's a huge amount of tracking that was not done by the Quest 2. You could. I don't miss those at all. I do not miss my Pro controllers, and their slow startup time, and they're drifting, and they're snapping back into position.
You guys are making me just so happy I skipped the 2.
Yeah, yep. The 2 was good. It was a good value at $300. We saw the multi-room. What the hell is this? Oh yeah, so in terms of the lenses, I had just grabbed these because it is striking. So this is a Quest 2, getting ripped apart. There's the lenses to screen. You can kind of imagine the thickness of that.
Oh, wow.
Here's the only frame I could really grab that showed just how crazy thick it was from those Fresnel lenses to the back of the screen. And there's not a lot here that isn't screen. There's just a heat plate, essentially a steel plate behind it. And then you get to the Quest 3 pancake lenses, and that's how thick they are for the screen, the lens, everything. So it's a third of the thickness or something like that. It's dramatic difference. And that's how they were able to shorten that headset depth. All right. Anybody got anything else Quest 3 related? How are we doing on time, Matt?
Do you
37.
feel like the Quest 3 is dimmer?
Dimmer than Quest Pro?
No, it seems about the same, but maybe Quest 2.
Probably is, actually. Yeah, I haven't noticed that.
I think by default the brightness is set to like
Yeah,
70 or 80%. So
I tried adjusting it. It still seems like, and I know that the optics suck a lot of the brightness out.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
if I look toward my peripherals, it seems like it kind of fades out in brightness a little bit, which I guess makes sense.
Quest Pro did that too. Yeah. They even had that on the Pro. They had the discoloration. It's kind of yellowish, brownish around the edges. I remember noticing initially, and I don't think I noticed that on Quest 3. So either they corrected the lens coating or they corrected the display or something.
The only other thing that's annoying to me is how gray it is. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
the black is not black.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's like a Quest 2. It's the same.
Quest Pro was a little bit better.
Zach, check your Discord.
Discord. Quick. Wait, that guy. Oh, it's Bradley doing.
Oh, is this?
Okay, yeah, he deserves. Is it real?
I have no idea.
It looks like it.
Yeah. It looks real.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be in my nightmare.
Yeah. Smokey That's amazing. That's good stuff. Did you want to show some people the mixed reality?
The only other Quest-related thing is we have a couple of Quest 3s over there with a pass-through pool app, like billiards pool. Nice. It works pretty well with co-location because you can grab the virtual pool table and like adjust it and then see where the other person's avatar is and kind of like line everything up.
Is that the one from AppLab?
Yep. And we have it adjusted to that table over there, so you can actually like set your hand down on the table for some like tactile feedback when using the pool cue. So we can try that out. I wouldn't play a whole game, maybe just hit a few balls and then let the next person try it out. But we can get that up and running here once we're done, and before we head out. So.
Cool. Then anybody that wants to see that, since it's such a pain in the ass, the real-time depth API, the occlusion stuff that's running on here, plus any other random thing that doesn't need internet, that's probably already on here too. This is amazing. I mean, lifelong friends with this guy in Colorado. Actually, at MetaConnect 2 is when we met in person, because he had done VR on a skateboard in a parking ramp, and then he would throw walls in front of people, and they'd have to decide if they're going to skate through it or just bail out to the ground because they're that nervous about this virtual wall, that they're going to go through. But yeah, he deserves everything for that. There we go.
It chases you like that, even if you walk into like
Yeah.
the living room into a different
Yep.
room, it's still chasing you like that.
Yeah, it's a little better now in the recent SDKs, but yeah, on Quest Pro, that was the worst. You go outside and take these pictures, and it's like, return to your boundary area. And now with the no boundary, no guardian thing, it's finally getting a little better.
It's way better once you turn off the guardian,
Could be a game. How far can you sprint before it catches you?
And those moving UIs, they really make you feel dizzy too, and they're like chasing you.
Yep, and they're stuttery like that because they're trying to do something at a different frame rate. Actually, that's my main gripe with the pass-through, more so than the posterizing or the detail, is the frame rate's a different frame rate than your headset update. So when you turn your head, it goes tick, 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 and catches up with you. I think the cameras are 60 and the headset's usually at 90 or 72. Yeah. Hopefully they iron that out really soon. So that bugs me a lot. And then anybody that wants to try the most amazing lenses in the world.
Very delicately.
Very carefully, and maybe not ratchet the thing down on your head very tight. Welcome to. Thanks, stream. Thanks for joining us. If anybody's on there, we'll catch you January 2024.